right, let's paint patterns. I have taped down my paper. This is a piece of maybe like 6 by 9 inch paper. It doesn't matter what size paper you use, but I would suggest using at least a little bit of a bigger, I wouldn't do like a 5 by 7 or a 4 by 6 or anything, just so you have enough room to actually make your pattern. You are going to need either a ruler or a piece of paper with a straight edge. A ruler is probably easier, and a pencil and an eraser for this. And of course your watercolor paints. Also, before we get started, from here on out, as far as trying to access your intuition, your inner creative voice, whatever you want to call it, from now on, just think about, before you start painting, don't think about, do this. Inhale and then blow out. Try to relax your face with the next exhale. Just try to relax. Just bring in that calm energy. No need to feel worked up or stressed out. This is all good. And somehow I just got some paint right on my paper. That's okay. I am going to now get my ruler. I was thinking we would do squares and then maybe diamonds, and then I know I talked about either like a leaf or some sort of organic pattern. So if you have a ruler, what I'm going to do is just draw. I'm going to hold my ruler down and draw on either side of it, so I have something about that wide, and I'm going to do that all across the paper. So now I'm going to measure, not measure, but just line it up where it just was, hold it down, and then that way, you know, I have the same width across the whole thing. You could certainly use something smaller if you want to do a more detailed pattern with smaller squares. You'll see in a second. So first we're going to go this way, up across the paper, and then we'll go down this way. So I'm just lining it up where I last drew it and going like this. So as I have mentioned before, I believe you can't erase pencil after you watercolor over it. So I'm going to draw these lines, probably erase them a little bit so they're lighter, but even then, I'm not going to paint over these. We're going to have white spaces between our lines, between our squares. All right. So once you have it all in one direction like that, you want to, we're making squares here. So we need to make sure, I'm using the lines on my ruler because I have this clear ruler to make sure that I'm doing at a 90-degree angle, pretty much, basically, because I want to make squares. Diamonds are fun too. We might do diamonds. Why do I say we might? I kind of roughly plan these things out, but I haven't 100% planned them because there are so many different fun things to do. Just doing stripes is fun. We might do stripes. We'll do some sort of organic thing. Okay. And once you get the first line, then you can just kind of go around like this. And even if they're not perfectly square, that is fine. That goes off the paper, so I don't need to do that. All right. So for this one, I'm picturing rainbow. So I think we'll start in the top right corner up here with reds and oranges and move our way down through the painting, maybe like this, so that when we get to the bottom, it'll be purples, up the top, it'll be reds. And you know, this is just for fun. These are cool when they're done. You can it's certainly a piece that you might want to display. I thought I started recording this twice and stopped because I didn't have all my materials, and now here I find myself again. I keep thinking I have everything, and then I look around and I am missing, here's my trusty brush. Okay. So once you have your pattern drawn, you could erase it some so that the lines aren't so dark, but since I'm trying not to paint at all on the lines, which you'll see in a second, when mine's all done, I will just erase the lines once everything is completely dry. Do not try to erase until things are completely dry. Okay, so I have I have sprayed my watercolors, but I feel like they need more. I'm almost out of water. I'm going to take some water from there and try to tap this out. So up in the corner, I'm going to start with red, but I'm also going to add, I can't ever just paint one thing, like a single color. It seems like I have to use multiple colors. So this is just another exercise in using the tip of your paintbrush, just the tip, and not using the edge, just the tip. So what I'm doing is getting super close to the line, but I'm not getting on the line. I'm intentionally leaving white spaces, which you'll see. I am going to take a touch of orange, just tap it in, but I want it to look primarily red. I'm going to go back here and grab more red and go like so. There we go. This color might be dark enough where you wouldn't see the pencil through it, but the whole idea is to have those white lines because they make it look cool. I don't think I'm going to add any orange to that one. So I don't usually plan out very far. Like I could count. Let's do it. Let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers of squares this way. So really, if I'm trying to get through 6 colors of the rainbow, I know there are really 7, but you know, I'm gonna have to move pretty quickly from one to the other. So I know by the end I want at least a little bit of purple down here, but I'm still gonna continue. I'm gonna do some red here, reddish orange, and then I'm sort of picturing that from here. I'll do orange, and then in this section some yellow, in this section some green, some blue, and just a little purple there at the end. It wouldn't matter if you didn't make it all the way through the rainbow. It would still look cool. And you also don't have to do rainbow like this. Like I made, if I can find it really quickly, I'll show you. I made another one of these that was just, here it is. Like this is just all different blues and greens. You could just pick a color, a simple color palette, and just do the whole thing like that. And that would be awesome too. This is your painting experience. If your intuition or your senses are saying, I want mine to be entirely yellow and blue or whatever, please feel free to do that. So I'm going to do most of this as red, but then I'm going to grab orange for the bottom. And this is a good practice week for getting you used to really good at just using that tip of your brush. If your lines are uneven, it is fine. If you mess up, it's fine. My corners are not particularly sharp right here. It is all fine. It's all fine. I'm going to tap some more red up top here. That's why you're here. You're here to practice. You're here to have fun. You're here to explore. This one, I'm going to do red over here. Like this. But then orange on the other side. Whoops. Do you see how I got a little too close to the line there? I just pushed it back with my finger quickly before it dried. Woo. These are time consuming. Normally, I think as I've said before, I would be listening to a podcast or music. Probably a podcast, actually. I know that it's easy to listen to music now. I'm just getting this wet and then wiping off with my rag. I know it's easy to listen to music now because you can access it all the time, but I don't know. I'm a child of the 80s and a teen of the 90s, and I just think of my like CD player. I have all these CDs still. I got a little something in there. I'm trying to get it out. I have all these CDs, but they're in the attic. I don't even know exactly where they are. Okay, now I'm gonna start switching my focus to orange with probably just a touch of red up in the corners. Yeah, the world is so different. We don't always, but sometimes we try to explain to our daughter how things were in the olden days, but I know it's impossible for her to understand because she will never know what life was like without the internet, without instantaneous access to music and movies and everything else. Although I did meet a woman who did not have a computer in her home, did not have a smartphone, and she had a son around my daughter's age, and she went to the library once a week to check her email. And I sort of was envious of the simplicity of that, but I know I'm not going back there. That is not going to be me. Okay. I'm going to tap a bit of red up into the corner, just so the transition isn't too sudden. And I will just let that do what it will. You know, orange is not one of my favorite colors, but I have to say that it's quite pretty in this little square here. I probably should have told you to start painting from this way to this way, but this is how I pictured it, so this is how I'm doing it. I'm trying to avoid getting my hand in any paint. My line is really light there, so I'm trying to follow my guide, even though it's hard to see. So any little things that you're thinking are mistakes or imperfections or whatever, like really when you step back and look at the painting, you're not going to notice them. You can absolutely go back with your gel pen, like I've talked about in other sections, and put a little white line or touch up your white line if you need to, but woo, it's hard to paint at this angle for me for some reason. Boop, boop, boop. Again, a little bit of red. I guess that one I might do like a red orange kind of thing. Maybe a little red up here. And then down here. Can you hear the construction sounds coming? Someone just bought the house behind us. And they are doing a lot of stuff back there. So you may find after painting a few patterns that this is not relaxing for you. You do not enjoy this. But you might also find that, you know, there's something sort of relaxing about the tedium of it. Maybe I should not be advertising this as tedious, but there's nothing else to do. It's okay to just focus on this one thing, to just enjoy the process of doing it. You don't have to have anything else going on. It's simple because you're following this pre-drawn pattern. So you can kind of it's kind of like coloring in a coloring book in some ways. Like you don't have to think too much. You do have to concentrate a little bit, but I don't know, I think it's sort of nice. Okay, so now I'm definitely gonna start with orange up at the top here, but then I'm gonna start moving into yellow. So with each layer, I am moving into the new color so that we can get through the whole. Now you might have, if you're using a bigger piece of paper, then you probably have more. I'm using my cadmium yellow medium for this one. You might have a longer transition time than I do. I am going to keep that, I'm going to paint straight up yellow down here and then touch the yellow to the other yellow, to the orange, because I'd like them to stay at least a little bit separate, but that might be tricky because of how wet that is. But I think that is just fine. I'm going to do the same thing up here. And you probably hear me exhaling. I'm just reminding myself that it's a good idea to relax and to stay calm. No need to rush. Seriously, what are they doing back there? You probably can't even hear what I'm talking about, but it sounds very intense back there. The house was built in the 80s. My husband and I actually went to go look at it after the current people moved out, just to see if it was something we wanted, because it has a lot more land than the house we live in, the house we have. But it was very outdated. Oh my gosh. I was thinking my brush was clean and it was not. I was trying to clean up this blue that I just got on. There's always a way. Little water. Once we paint over that, you won't even see it. And really, I need to get the blue off my hand. Okay. Quickly before this dries. It's starting to dry and I don't want it to. Yeah. The house was needed. It didn't need work in that things were falling apart or anything, but it definitely was showing its age as far as when it was built and what it had in it, and it's old-fashioned in the wall oven. So I guess whoever bought it I don't love how close I got there to the line, but I don't want to mess up that other. I was reading this other artist who I follow on Instagram. I was reading about one of the classes she teaches, and I saw how somebody said that, like a testimonial, somebody said that they liked that she showed her vulnerability in things not always going the way she expected with her art. And I hope that I do that as well. Things do not always go the way I plan at all. They don't go that way for anyone. It would be silly to try to pretend that things always went perfectly when you were creating, because they do not. And I will have things that I create that I love, and then I look at them later and I do not love them. But that's why I think it's important to just keep moving. Don't be too attached to what it is you're making. Just enjoy the process of creating. Enjoy the time for yourself. If you do love the way something comes out, enjoy looking at it. Enjoy sharing it, gifting it, or just sharing a picture of it. And I'll just say again that I don't think creative time is ever selfish. I think that is a terrible belief system that perhaps has been instilled into us, that somehow taking creative time for yourself, taking time doing something that's quote unquote just for you, is somehow a bad thing, when really doing something just for you, it lights up your life and it makes you kinder. It makes you more generous. It makes you want to share, beauty and joy. And it's a good thing when we all have something for ourselves, when we're doing something that we enjoy, it makes life better, not worse. I am starting to move on here to just straight up yellow, but I'm going to go back probably and dot in some orange at the top before this gets too dry. Just like that. The cool thing about the rainbow is that it's like a flattened, straightened out color wheel. Like a color wheel goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and then back to red. And it's sort of just like a flattened out color wheel, which I just think is really neat. The colors all go well together. I'll do a little, so some of these little corner pieces, you just have to like make your own call about what you think, what color they should be. All right, so let's do another yellow one over here. I'm just gonna do yellow across like this. And I may paint this orange rather than dotting the orange in, because I like that blend there. And you can see, I mean, I have some wobbly lines here. But really, once it's all dry and you erase it, it's gonna look good. You can push down and use the side of your brush if you're filling in a large area, and then switch back to just going along the edge for the close parts, the detail sort of parts. And I bet you're just doing this naturally. It just happens as you paint more and more, you can kind of get a sense of what the right thing to do is. I do suggest working from top to bottom with these kinds of paintings, because if you work from bottom to top, you could be dipping your hand right into the paint. If you took my abstracts class, we do the scale, like mermaid scale kind of painting, and I actually do those upside down so I can work from top to bottom, and then I flip them over. And if you like abstracts, even though we do some of that in this, you might want to take that class. It's just a quick couple of hours if you really love that. Okay, I guess we're gonna move on now to yellow, green, yellow, green, 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 blue, 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 purple, purple. Yeah. Let's do it. This is another spot where the line, I almost kind of got rid of it by accident when I was wiping. Now, for me, an important decision is going to be which green do I want to use. I think I'm going to use this. This is just light green. Because I also have my emerald green. I like this green though. Or maybe I'll use more than one green. Let's see. Let's see what I do. I'm choosing this over a darker green just because, I don't know, I like the way it looks. I like the brightness of it. I don't feel like I'm ready to add green to this one yet, so I think I'm gonna add some orange at the top, and then I think I'm gonna leave it without green. Maybe I'll put some green, I don't know yet. I'm definitely gonna do orange at the top. That doesn't seem wet enough to me, so I just took some water on my paintbrush and dotted it onto where I put the orange. So I want it to bleed a little more. Okay. And then up here. Something just got in there. Sometimes something will show up in my paint and I just try to get it out with the paintbrush while it's wet and then wipe the paintbrush over on my rag. Cat hair. Cat hair is the thing. I have less issues with cat hair now that I only have one cat. My poor other sweet, wonderful cat had to be put to sleep over a year ago, and she was always in here. And she had dark hair, so that made more of a mess. But I don't know, watercolors, it's easier to get cat hair out. When I painted with acrylics, it was harder. And if you are a cat owner, or probably just a pet owner, you'll know it's very difficult to keep your pets out of your space. I like having them in here. Plus this room has lots of windows, so of course the cats want to be in here looking at the bird feeders and stuff. Who can blame them? Also the squirrels. I remember when I was a kid, my parents did so much to try to avoid feeding the squirrels with the bird feeders. They had all these different sort of contraptions to try to keep the squirrels off, and none of them worked. And my husband is the opposite, where he just knows they're going to eat it, so he just buys more and lets them. He puts them on the ground like sunflower seeds and stuff so that they can. I'm trying to move my curtains so the sun isn't so bright coming in. So I just think that's funny that he's like, yep, I'm gonna feed the squirrels. And the cats do. The cat now, the single cat, does enjoy watching all that. Also, she's really old now. She's 15, so sleeping is more the main thing on her agenda these days. Okay, this layer I'm gonna do a little bit of yellow, but I'm gonna do a lot more green. I can see, because the way that this is pooling up, that I probably have a little bit too much water on my brush, which can lead to that blooming effect where the watercolors look, I don't know how to explain it. I'll have to show it to you. Do any of these have blooming? Like this kind of thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. It just, some people don't like it. And that happens when there's a lot of water. Okay, I'm gonna go in and grab my green here. And I'm definitely kind of eyeballing this because I accidentally erased that line when I put the water in. Oh well. I mean, when I tried to wipe it off. So I'm using my less expensive Strathmore paper for these just because, you know, they're just practice or demonstration paintings. This kind of paper, not just Strathmore, but any, you know, just more like practice kind of paper, does tend to, if you rub it too hard or put water on it too many times or put too many layers on or whatever, it does tend to tear a little bit. Not tear, but like you can see that the weave kind of like pulls up a little bit. So you just have to be aware of that. You can certainly spend more money on more expensive paper, but I have been very happy with Strathmore paper and I use it very often. And yes, I do sometimes spend money on more expensive paper, but it's probably not necessary unless you are planning on exhibiting your work or selling your work. Oh no, I just got a bunch of green into my yellow. It's not what I meant to do. I may need to go wipe that out. We'll see what I do. Let's just wait. So this is the area where I erase the lines. This is why it's important to have lines, because if you're just trying to freehand it, and I love freehanding stuff, but this is hard to freehand when you're trying to make straight lines. This right here is probably something I'll go back and just adjust with my gel pen. And now I'm using my rag to clean out that green that I just got in there. And now I'm gonna go spray more water on it because I just sucked up a lot of the moisture. I can tell this area is gonna bloom. I'm gonna be okay with that. I get some green. I'm gonna do this one mostly green, but I think I am gonna put yellow into the corner there. So let's see. Yeah, this has been, these take time. This has been a half an hour so far that we've been working on this. And that's part of the reason that I did a little bit of a smaller piece of paper, just so we could get through one of these whole paintings. This time I really want to make sure that I don't have any green on my brush. Good. But you can see we have a nice color shift going on. Looks very pretty. And now I'll just be doing just straight up green here, I think, for these couple. And this one, this is like one of those teeny tiny little corners where there's almost nothing on the actual paper, but we want to color it in. And you can't see me, but I'm standing up and I'm moving all around back here to get at an angle that feels comfortable to me. And I could touch a little green into that, but will I? Maybe. And which green, which blue? Not green, blue. I don't know. I might make, I don't know that I want to use any of my blues. I don't really want to do sky blue, but I don't really want to do bark blue either. Maybe I can do a combo blue. Let's see. That may not be the right blue. We will see. We will see. I really need to get a new brush, don't I? This one's starting to feel a little floppy. Remember to breathe. I think I often go through my day forgetting to breathe. Okay, not often, but I have to take regular reminder breaks to do the one conscious breath thing where you just kind of your mini meditation throughout the day, even if you don't want to meditate regularly, although that is very good for you. I try to meditate every night before bed. I say try, I always sit there, but sometimes it works better than others. But Eckhart Tolle talks about that one conscious breath where you just breathe in and breathe out. And just that brings you back into the moment. I think that's one of the reasons why I like painting and creativity so much, is because for the most part, especially something like this, you're concentrating, you're in this. Like, you most likely, especially when you're first learning, but I think always, you're not thinking about all the other stuff. You are just doing this one thing. You're letting your mind, your body, you're letting yourself just be here, which is a beautiful gift, because so often our minds are everywhere. Oh, goodness gracious. Why am I saying goodness gracious? Because I thought I had gotten all the green off my paintbrush, but I did not. Am I just going to use this sky blue? I'm going to use the sky blue with just a touch of this midnight blue and hope for the best. It's kind of mixing with the green and making a turquoisey color, but we'll go with that. This one I'm going to do half and half. So I'm going to do the top half green and the bottom half blue. Ooh. Okay. So I just now went back and wiped off my brush between, like before I went and grabbed the blue. I'm trying to at least make it look somewhat blue down here. Turquoise in the middle is fine, but I'd like there to be at least a little actual blue down there. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Oops, there we go. So I'm gonna do blue in the top corner. This would probably be fun to go back and like add other embellishments onto, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do this. I get into the weeds of wanting to do all sorts of different stuff sometimes, which normally I would go with, but for this one, I'm gonna try to stick to the program. I do think though, once you feel good about your skills, or even before you feel good about your skills, it's fun and important to follow those little nudges and just do that thing that seems cool. Do that thing that's different than what you were planning on doing, and just see what happens. And sometimes you may be not upset, but you may be like, that didn't go as I planned. And other times you'll be like, huh, I like that. If we're in the kitchen and I drop something or spill something and my daughter's there, I just say, well, that's not what I planned on, or that's not what I wanted. Hopefully instilling in her the just the knowledge that things don't go the way you plan, and it's okay. You don't have to get all hung up on it. All right. Boop, boop, boop. I'm gonna slowly move into more blue, less green over here. I think we're ready for that now. And I got this blue just by mixing that sky blue with that midnight blue, but any blue will work here. You could be doing this in much darker colors and it would be a-okay. I guess for purple, I'll just use my straight up purple. It's probably a bit on the dark side. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm gonna water that purple down. I like purple, but the pure unadulterated purple seems like a lot. Okay. The rest of these I might just do straight up blue. Maybe not though. Let's see. And then I'll probably do a little purple down the corner in that one too. Whew, that's intense. I'm gonna wipe my brush a bit and just pull this color around rather than continuing to add more color to it. Got some purple in my blue. I just got some purple in my blue. I'm running out of space to mix things, so I'm just gonna do the same thing here. I think put a little down, clean off my brush, wipe it, and then use just a clean brush just so this color is not quite so dark and intense. We're almost done. We're almost done. We're almost done. Sorry, sometimes I just start singing and I don't really realize I'm singing. There's a lot of singing in my house. Just for fun, not professional singing. Okay. Oops, that time I didn't get enough color. I'm gonna do the intense color down here. And actually in this little corner too. Then I'm gonna wipe off my brush and just use the dry brush with the color that's already there, like so. I'm dotting around some water just right here because I want those to mix more. They're not mixing quite the way I want them to. And then I'm gonna do the same blue-green situation up here, a little blue up top. And then purple down here. Going to add a touch of violet / magenta down here, just as one more little layer of interest. Oh no, not on the plan. I'm gonna just try to tap that up before it's too late. Oh no, I just made that one worse. Okay. Okay, final probably little blue area here. Up here. Swoop. You can see my blue got a little darker there because I didn't add as much sky blue, but you know, this is one of those paintings with a lot of colors, so I do not mind. I'm laughing because that was not well executed. I think my hand is maybe starting to get tired. I'm gonna do the purple there and then a little magenta down here. You could do red here if you didn't have magenta, or add some red to purple and then do that if you felt like it, if you wanted more color. Doggy. All right, let me grab some more magenta. Do that down here. Maybe this little teeny tiny triangle will be magenta also. Do this one purple. Can you see my head? Is my head in the way? Ta-da. Okay, look at that. I am gonna do nothing more to this in this video. I need this to dry completely before I do anything else. I am gonna go like this because I, again, dripped water on my painting. Not ideal, not ideal. But I'm just gonna, can I go like this? What will happen? It will be okay. That is what will happen. Okay, I am gonna leave this to dry completely. I will, in the next video, I'll peel it off and erase the lines, but I'm not gonna do it now because it's nowhere near being ready for that. But there we have it. We have a really cool, doesn't it look neat? Like a really cool pattern painting. And I hope that you have enjoyed the concentration of this and are happy with your results. And it would be really cool if you shared it. And if you do, tag me on Instagram at Jen Pacici because I want to see it. Okay, see you for the next one.